Good morning. We'll let the people trickle in. Good morning. We'll give it a couple more minutes before we start. We have people slowly trickling in. Good morning. We'll one more minute before we start. We've got a few people slowly joining. All right. Good morning. I'd like to welcome you all to our bi-weekly TechCast. Today we have Cathye Pendley from Rosendin. She will be talking about advancing analytics at Rosendin. Before we get started, I want to do a little bit of housekeeping. So if you could please advance the slides, Cathye.
Oh, let's go. There you go.
All right. For those of you who are new to what we do, Analytics and Data Oracle User Community is a group of professionals, both consultants and customers, who have come together to share our knowledge and to advance the area of analytics within Oracle. We do bi-weekly TechCasts, so you can look at our website to see what's coming and what's done in the past, as well as see the recordings of those previous TechCasts. Upcoming on July 27th, we have a data science review with Tim Glamis and Carl Rexer. And then on August 10th, this is something we do about every 2 months, right after Oracle releases some new features. Dan Glamis and myself, and then usually a few people from Oracle Product Management will talk about either the new features or some of the favorite features that were released, and do a little bit of demoing with them. Not necessarily like the videos that Oracle puts up, but it's our take on some of the new features and what we like. So take a look, sign up, and hope to see you at the next TechCasts. Next slide, please. So if you'd like to help support AnDOUC, we have merchandise, and take a look at our store. We are a nonprofit. We are spending money to educate you all, and we look for ways to help kind of rebuild our bank a little bit. So fun stuff. Take a look at the store. Next slide, please. Also, please follow us. We are on Twitter. We are on Facebook, LinkedIn. We have our spatial and graph SIG as part of our LinkedIn. And then also on YouTube, have all our previous TechCasts, and TechCast days are out there. Next slide, please. And please, if you have a question, we do have a question and answer panel. Please use that instead of using the chat. This way we can track the question and make sure that they get answered properly. Cathye has asked that we'll try to answer the questions at the end. If there's something important on a current topic, we may break and answer the question at that time. And with that, I'd like to introduce Cathye Pendley. She's a business intelligence program manager at Rosendin. Cathye has over 30 years experience in Oracle Business Intelligence and Analytics technologies. She brings a strong project management skills and clear methodology focus to each project. Cathye's extensive project management expertise includes the following: project management of Oracle Analytics projects, tool evaluation and selection for business intelligence tools, analysis, design, development, implementation of analytic solutions, developed both large and small analytic applications and systems, and has implemented sales and financial applications using Oracle Analytics. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Cathye to take care of showing you what she's done at Rosendin.
And I think we have a slide mix up before that.
Oh, we do.
I'll take it. Just know we have the Analytics and Data Summit 2024 is March 19th through 21. Call for speakers is now on. So that if you're interested, this is a great conference if you've never been. Yeah, I think it's really good. You have a lot of product management that shows up, and it's a smaller conference, so you get a lot of one-on-one. Anything else I need to add to that, Wayne? I was ad-libbing that 100%.
You did perfectly. Thank you.
Great. Perfect. Okay, so here's the agenda for today. I've got quite a bit in here. I've done this presentation. I've done the first part of this presentation a couple of other times, so I'm going to kind of fly through that piece, but I want to give a little bit about Rosendin, our background on where we came from the Oracle perspective, the Oracle Analytics perspective, where we are today, some changes from when I presented this in March, and then some benefits. I'm going to do a demo. I'm going to do a little bit different of a demo for those. I'm going to do a demo of Power BI using the BI connector for Power BI. And then we'll talk about the lessons we learned. I'm going to do a preview of the Oracle database, and all of that's going to depend on how much time that I have as we go through this. How much time is left is how much we can preview, but I really think that's important. And then we'll allow some time for questions. Okay, so about Rosendin, we have about 7,500 employees. We have offices from Baltimore all the way to Honolulu. So yeah, we are nationwide, about $3 billion in revenue. We really believe that if we make sure we have quality people and we are investing in our employees and making sure we're turning out quality services, then that will make us succeed. So it's a really cool company to work for. So what does Rosendin do? We are an electrical contracting company. So we go out and we work with a lot of general contractors on some really cool gigs like the Chase Center, putting in the electrical there. And we do a lot of the data centers for the who's of Silicon Valley. We even have one of our divisions goes in and actually builds offsite all the electrical and transports it to a data center, because a lot of times they're remote and you cannot get access. You can't get a lot of good expertise to do the electrical there. So they do it offsite and drive it in. It's like, imagine a single wide mobile home going down the road. That's about the size of the electrical that they do. So I always thought that's kind of cool. So we do a lot of cool stuff, working on a lot of cool projects. And then this, I like to include it. You can read it, but basically it's what I said in the first slide. We are building quality, value, and building our people. And if you provide quality to your customers and you are building your people and making sure that they're the best they can be and being fair with your customer, then the money will come. You don't have to worry about it. Your business is going to succeed. And it seems like they've been doing that for 100 years. They've been doing pretty good. Okay, now with that said, I want to talk quickly about the background, where Rosendin came from the analytics perspective. We were a large, we had a large legacy OBIEE system. It was being, have EBS and had a data warehouse built on top of that, or tables built on top in the Oracle database. We had dashboards. And then we decided we're going to migrate from OBIEE 11.117 to OAC. When we did that, we decided, okay, we're going to rebuild our data models. We're going to take advantage of ODI. So we rebuilding the models. The one probably thing we could have done differently is the person that built the model in the on-prem version built the model, was responsible for building the model in the cloud. So when he did that, anytime you look at something you've done, you kind of have a bias to it. And it would have been nice to probably had another set of eyes looking at it to say, hey, have you ever thought about this? Another thing that we had coming in, we had a revolving door of people that said they knew OAC, but really knew OBIEE. So that was, and so we struggled with that. We realized we needed help. And so with integrating visualizations as well as even reorganizing and optimizing our data structures. So what was our motivations? We wanted to retire our outdated technology. We wanted our physical servers were ending the end of life. I wanted to improve performance, look at the dimension tables and remodeling of the subject areas. We also wanted to take advantage. We wanted to redesign our dashboards and make them more, I call effective, to where you're getting at the data with the more graphics and people can actually get to the information they need quicker, and make it a little more interactive. Our goal was to also use DV in ad hoc capabilities, and so we can explore the business data more and develop new analytic insights. And then we also wanted to remove some of the manual processes that we've had. So that was our motivation for doing what we're doing. And right now where we're at, we are a cloud-first approach. If we're trying to go everything to the cloud, ADW, we found that it's faster, less maintenance. We're able to retire some of our old hardware, and we've modified our data models at the same time, like I've said, and now we're on the cloud. ODI, we just basically moved everything off of Informatica onto ODI, and with OAC, we're able to access the DV front end, and we've started using it to build some analysis. And I've actually, I'll have I'll be talking a little bit more about that later on, and better visualizations. The one thing that we didn't realize is when you talk about ADW, it is not 100% autonomous. You do have to have someone in there looking at if you have sessions running long, if you have a session that didn't get killed, you still have to kind of monitor it and look at it. And while Oracle does a lot of the work for you, they don't do it all. Now, this was before I came on board, but some of the people at Rosendin, or most of the people, were thinking that it was going to be, 100% Oracle's going to handle everything. That's not the case. They do a lot, but not everything. You still need an ADW. An ADW resource is still good to have. So our needs in October 2020, we wanted to modernize our analytics. We wanted to get our business to use the data more regularly. The end users had lost confidence in our data integrity and load times, and then the stakeholders weren't happy with how long it took our development time. So getting from, hey, we had this need, to, hey, we have this dashboard, we now have a dashboard, was taking a little bit long. Our CIO said, find us someone that can do what you promised, or we're done. He was not happy at that point in time. And again, this was prior. I've only been at Rosendin for a year, so this was prior to me. So what we ended up doing is they brought in some contractors. They brought in Valamis. They brought in some contractors. They started working with some of the teams. I think this is when we started working with Ben and Jamie and some of the people in the customer advisory board.
Excuse me, Cathye.
Yes.
Your audio is breaking up a little bit. I don't know if your microphone is moving or if your headset, but just be aware.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Let me know. Is this? I'm gonna talk. Let me do this slide and just let me know if it's better after this slide. Okay. So we work with the CAD. We work with Oracle. We did bring in some contractors as well. They did some things. We started off slow. Rosendin started off slow with contractors, gave them a punch list of things to do. They got that punch list, and that way they kind of tried out Valamis, and then moved them on to doing more things. And probably the thing that we still have is the assessment that was done. And what we found out from the assessment was there was quite a bit that we could do to improve, starting with the redesigning of some of our dashboards to make them more, UI suggestions, like getting rid of maybe some 3D graphs, making the dashboards more effective, moving some of the measurements. There were some measurements that probably need to go back to the RPD that were in the report. Organize the columns, make the subject areas a little easier to use. So if we have our users that want to go in and do analysis on their own, and then we had quite a bit of performance needs that needed to be improved. I'm going to stop for a second. Wayne, is that better?
Yes, thank you.
It may have been I was moving because I have a hard time sitting still. So I'll be very cautious on that. Thank you, Wayne. Okay, so where are we today? As of March, we shut off our OBIEE system. We had very few, when we turned it off, we had very few tickets at the help desk, had very few tickets. We've had some flow in now, but amazingly, not too many people that might be questioning some data. And when they found out that, hey, just the data is doing a little bit differently, as it's doing as it's designed. And we had some performance things, and we've had some things, just accessing. So, and our servers were either repurposed or shut down, or just completely gone away with in June of this year. So we don't even have the servers anymore. So migrated to OAC, ETLs and ODI, everything, we're all up in the cloud. So that's where we were, kind of how we got how we got to rolling out. Now since we've rolled out, here are some things that we've done. We'll start with, we started this actually before we rolled out, but it wasn't part of rolling out into production. We have an install rate. An install rate is basically, when we talk about install rate, we're talking about the amount of time it takes to install some conduit. So it's at feet, how many feet, how long does it take to install a foot of conduit? Or how many feet can you do in an hour? So we had this install rate, and we built this. We were working on this even a couple of years ago. We met with users, and they said, hey, here's this Excel file that we are doing manually twice a year because it takes so long. We want you to rebuild this in OAC. We rebuilt it, built some nice, cool stuff, and only didn't have access to the users that we would like to have. We met with them probably every 6 months, and we demoed. They said no. The first time we met them, they said no, we don't want it monthly, we want it weekly. You couldn't tell from the Excel file what it was, so we created everything weekly. But there was quite a bit of data. We built like 40 measures in there, and they're really, after about a year and a half, and they were looking at things, they said, really, we only want to focus on a handful of measures, probably 10. So we had really over implemented and spent a lot of time on ETL to bring in measures at the week level that they didn't need. But what we ended up with was this rollout of this install rate dashboard. And what this does is this replaces a manual process that they were doing twice a year, to where now they have this, they can access it every week. It gets updated every week. You can access it anytime you want. The interesting thing about this is once we implemented it, I was meeting with some key users, the key VPs across the country, about 3 or 4 of them. And we had one division that everything was, you had a lot of zeros in it, and come to find out they weren't doing some of the things that they were supposed to be doing with forecasting. And so therefore their data wasn't coming through. And he goes, well, I want it just because I'm not doing that. They said, no, that's the rules. And so it was interesting to hear the team talk among themselves and debate among themselves what they wanted this to be. But the data itself was in there, and they were able to see it. So it finally got them talking. And the one cool thing is that you can now see an install rate for the entire company if you don't have it filtered down. So if you don't filter on anything, you can have it by division. You can look at it by a project manager, just really easy. And we built this in DV. we have several other sites. We built it in DV, but then they wanted to put it into a dashboard. So this is all a DV with a dashboard over there. Another thing we did post go live is performance. We worked on some performance things. One of the things we did is we had some performance that was running really, really slow. And we found it was because the users that had limited access. So if we had security where you couldn't see all projects, their analysis, their dashboards were coming up. Some of their dashboards were coming up slow. It seemed like the larger the fact table, the slower it would come up. And we found that if we just put a cast double, it fixed the issue. And it was something with the number it was comparing it to was a decimal. And so it was taking a long time to do the conversions. Once we did this, and I sent this out, we did this at the end of the month. Once we sent this out, we now got the performance. And I say I didn't implement this change. I had a team did it. They did a very good job. So kudos out to them. But it was taking on average 100 seconds to pull up one of the 4 running reports. And this is for 80 users that was having problems with it. And we got this down to 10 seconds, under 10 seconds to run. And this is where we implemented the change. And then I said, okay, for those 80 people, and we tried to pick people, that had access to certain, that had access to only a certain, a few projects or, several projects, but didn't have access to everything, because that was our problem area. And then for all the reports, what we had is for all the reports, even the small tables and reports that weren't giving us too much problem, we still were averaging 25 seconds, 20 to 25 seconds for average reports. And this is average daily. So this is it. And as we look across, you can see June is really bad. We implemented this over the 4th of July weekend, and look at what happened when people got back. All of a sudden it goes down. So this was something really good. I sent it to our management team and was very excited about it. Everyone got really excited that, hey, we were able to do this and help out. So, and this is something, it was done at the project level. So this is, all reports will be impacted by that change. Another thing that we've done is we're trying to increase adoption. So how can we get people to use OAC more? We have our little tips and tricks, which is something we'll put something in a PDF over here. And it's just, hey, you can do this. This might help you. We do that. We have also done some training. We have training on LinkedIn. We have internal training elsewhere. We have, so people are able to take advantage of it. And I was asked a few weeks ago if I could just train a group of a division of project managers for one of the division managers. So that's what I'm going to be doing this afternoon, train them on the dashboard. So anything we can do to help them make their life easier by using the dashboards and let them know what is available, we're doing it. And we also try to address issues, questions, and concerns quickly. So we have a help desk, and I was working it. I was helping out while someone was gone. And I had one of the ladies in the organization. She said, hey, look, I'm having problems with my dashboards. They are taking, after an hour, trying to pull up 40 projects. After an hour, it just goes away. It's not ever coming up. So I sent this out to the team. Again, I didn't do it. I sent it out to the team. They ask a few questions. In the meantime, I'm working with the user and saying, hey, for right now, let's run 10 at a time. 10 at a time took 12 to 14 minutes to run. And the team asked some questions and realized, hey, she really doesn't need all this. So we can put this in a summary table, her requirements. And so we built it in the summary table. And I got this email from her saying, hey, she was able to pull all 40 of her projects in 12 seconds. So, and we feel like by doing these things is helping with the adoption and people using OAC. Another thing that we did is I got real excited at this. This is one of the things I worked on, I guess, January, February timeframe. But we had one of our PMs, they had a project that went 5 years. It was supposed to go 2 years and ended up going 5 years. So anytime you go that length of time over, you're going to have overruns. and you're going to have the project went over budget. It's very hard for it not to. So what Rosendin's trying to do and what this project manager is trying to do was to determine how much of that was at fault of Rosendin and how much of it was our general contractor. And they had gotten a lot of information like, okay, we weren't able to work this time for several months because we were waiting on permits and other things like that. But what about the inefficiency in labor from how many times did we have to change where we were working in a given day? You know, we're working on the first floor, and we had to go to the second floor because the general contractor didn't have the things ready. So, or how many times do we have to change tasks in a day? Because again, you're usually going to do one task in a day, stay in one location in a day. And if you have to change, it might take you 30 minutes to pack up your stuff and change locations, or, change your materials and start doing something else. So what we did is they said, hey, can you help us with that? Because it usually takes, they do this labor analysis. It usually costs $25,000 to $50,000. So we built something. I worked with the Power BI team so we said, let's do this as a joint. I ended up having all the information in OAC. We used to, it was in OAC. And we were able to say, okay, it's about, by the time you have X number of times that we've changed over the 5 years. And we think that about 250,000 was because we changed jobs or changed locations in a given day. And then we were also able to identify the team members that worked from the whole 5 years on a project, because when they do that, if we kept them on for consistency, you got to keep in mind those people have been promoted, they've gotten raises, so that kind of impacts it. So we provide them that information. They're going to look into it and see if that impacts anything as well. So what was really great is I spent about five hours of analysis and meeting with people to come up with this information, and that saved the company money, and it gave them something that they can take to our customer and say, hey, look, does this seem fair to you? So it's kudos. Hopefully we can roll it out, but then again, you do these things, and then by the time he got it, he's meeting with his management, and he's got to meet with the customer, and they haven't got all the meetings completed yet, but we were able to do that. Okay, and then another thing that we have is the GO-LIVE, the Power BI connector. This is something that I was working with the user community on. When I got to Rosendin, I found out that we have a lot of users that are going into OAC, exporting the analysis and putting it into Power BI. So what I'm thinking, okay, there's got to be something. And I was on one of my calls with, maybe with Jamie or something. Anyway, on one of our calls with Oracle, and I heard about the new Power BI connector that was coming out. So I said, okay, let me play with that. And so I got on and started playing with it. And it, I really liked what it did. It does have some limitations, but I introduced that to our team, to some of the team members that are doing Power BI and exporting it. And so we've got it set up. I'm going to do a demo of it, but the things that you need to know is Power BI only works with, the Power BI connector only works with Power BI desktop, not the premium, not the pro. The model is stored in the desktop, and then you can publish it to the premium or pro. And again, I'm saying these things, if I'm miswording it a little bit, no, I'm not a Power BI person. I was trying to help our user community. When you connect to OAC, you are connecting to the subject area of OAC. So if you've modeled your subject area in that you only have measures in your fact table and you do not have your IDs, which is what is suggested, or you don't have any keys in there, when you go to migrate, if you go to migrate that table using the subject area, you won't have any keys to migrate it to. So if you're going to do that, and if you're wanting to do that, you have to put those IDs in the presentation layer of the subject area, not in the business model, but they got to go in the presentation layer. And what we did when I was testing this is we just put them in, the IDs in there, and put hide if 1 equals 1. In other words, never show it in OAC. So it will never be shown in OAC, but you can get at it in Power BI. Another thing is when you're pulling data from a fact table or something within the presentation layer, it does the filters in Power BI. So once you bring it over, it will do the filter. So if you say I'll look at my division or my 3 projects for this year, it will pull over everything that's in that fact table and then filter on your 3 projects and the time period. The issue with this is you can only bring over, I think it's 2 million rows, I think, and you'll error out. So I didn't find the subject area because our tables, we had a lot of large tables. It didn't work well for us, but just be aware of that. And if it works for you, that's great. If you're going to do the tables in the subject area, you have to have BI content author role. You can also pull the analysis. So I will show, that's what I'm going to demo is you can go in, if analysis are built, you can go through it has like a little, has a directory. You can go through and select an analysis and bring that in. You can also take the logical SQL from an analysis from the advanced tab of the analysis and bring that in. If you do the analysis, you just have to have BI consumer role. I'm not for sure with the logical SQL. I don't know what roles you need, but I think you need BI content author role. Again, it didn't, this is something new. Before, you always need a BI content author role. So this is something kind of new. So check it out if you don't, if you on what you need. You must have the Oracle Analytic Cloud tool installed on the desktop. You don't have to be able to edit the RPD or do anything like that, but the tool has to be on there. If you're noticing that you're timing out quicker than what you have your analysis set up to time out at, look at the access token timeout. That is what that is that's a timeout that is in between that says, okay, for the access token that you use to access it, it has a timeout that may need to be increased. So take a look at that. That was something that we took us a little bit to find that. Okay, I'm going to go over the benefits and then I'm going to do the demo. So the benefits of migrating to the cloud and the things that we've done is we've first off, we've got the weekly, we have the weekly on-demand weekly data, and it allows the teams to properly staff their projects. We've helped internal groups be more confident about the data. Super users are now able to use it in a more of an ad hoc manner, and our users are noticing improvements versus OBIEE. And again, I think we're getting more confidence that IT can deliver results. I think we still need to work on that. I'm big into customer service. I think we still need to work a little more on that, but they seem to be more pleased with IT. Oh, okay. So let's go to the demo. So this is Power BI. So I have logged into Power BI and I want to access an analysis. So the one thing that you need to do is you can go and get data, and then I just do the more. And again, remember, I'm not a Power BI person, so I'm not going to do a lot of fancy stuff in Power BI. I'm just going to show you how you can get, if you're a Power BI user, how you can get the OAC data, or if you have users that are wanting it to get to the data, this is how they can do it. So I'm going to do a connect here. On the connect, you have an app that you have the API key. You have to get that out of Oracle Analytics Cloud. I'll show you how to do that. If you want to put your logical SQL from the advanced tab, that goes here. And then these are some advanced options that you can do with the session variable and driver. So those I haven't dealt with those much. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to go to, of course, it timed out on me. So I have I'm up in OAC here. If you click on your initials and profile, you'll have app keys over here. And then you have this Power BI app key. All you have to do is copy it. Now, when I first started doing this, when I copied and pasted it, sometimes I had to do it twice. It would give me an error. I haven't seen that lately, but just know if you do, just retry it. And if it continues to happen, then you may want to do a little more research, but try it a few times. So I'm going to click OK. I'm not going to put in anything in the advanced tab right now. I'm going to click OK. And then what you see here is I can select subject areas. And you can see here, these are all my different subject areas. If I wanted to bring something over, I could. You can bring over some items from your dimension table, some from your fact table. And you just bring them in and pull them in, and then you can do a preview. But notice it's pulling in a preview of all the data, and it will filter it down once you get it in. Let's see, I may cancel it if it takes too long. Of course, okay, I'm going to go ahead and cancel that because, hold on. Sorry. Cancel the wrong thing. So click back on here, connect, app key. Hold on now. Oh, no, I may have messed something up. Let me try a new session. Okay.
Cathye, we're not hearing you.
Okay, can you hear me now? Is this
Yeah.
better?
Yeah, we lost you for about the
Okay.
last 15 seconds.
Okay. Okay, sorry. Okay, so I'm getting back. So I'm going to go ahead and get back into Oracle. Sorry, somehow I lost my connection to the database, to Oracle. So I'm going to click OK. And let's make sure this comes back up. I'm hoping something didn't happen to my connection. Okay, so let's look at our reports. And then you can see here, this is very much like what you have your shared folders. So this is all of our shared folders that I have at Rosendin. And then I can click on my user shared, because that's where I just put some stuff. We have something in our user shared. And I have all my reports here, and I can scroll down. And I have this install rate test data. So I went ahead and I have that. And what you can see here, it's just a small sample of data. It's got a division, date. This is my install quantity and my hours. But what you can see here is this comes up with the S1, S2, very similar to anything if you've looked at the logical SQL that comes out of it, where they store things in S1 and S2. So if you do this, you're going to want to probably transform the data when you bring it in, because you'll want something a little more meaningful. So you can go in, and for this S1, I know this is division. I'm just going to put date here. This is quantity. I am 99% sure. I can't tell 100% because I've randomized the data. So and this is labor. So I'll show you where you can figure out what it is in a minute. But and this is hours. And then I'm going to I'm applying changes and closing. And so now you can see here it's loading, it's evaluating and loading my data. And it's creating a model. It's loading data into the model. And now what you can see here, what I have is I have my install rate model. I have a division, and I have hours and quantity. Again, I'm not going to do a lot with it, but I just want to show you now you've got data and you can build analysis. You can, build a graph, whatever. You can now go in and visualize this data in Power BI, and users can do what users, can now use Power BI for analytics. This has been really good. You can also refresh the data. So I have a user that has built stuff and he refreshes it. Now, the one thing, this is the one way that I think is simplest to use it when you're using an analysis, but I will tell you our users like the advanced tab. I have some users like to use the advanced tab. So we're going to create a new one, but when we talk about the advanced tab, what we're talking about is when you go into OAC, this is the same analysis, and you can see we've got it pulled up here. If you click on the advanced tab, I may have lost connection here. Okay, so here's the advanced tab here. You have all the SQL, so you just do a Control A, Control C. You can cut and paste and put this right inside Power BI, but what the user likes to do is he likes to take it in, or they like to take it in and get rid of the S1s, S2s. So this is where if you're not familiar with the S1s, S2, this is where you can tell what the S1 and S2s are. So I just can take these out here, and normally if I hadn't put a times rand here, we just leave them. Normally we just leave, let's use a logical name, but you could just as easy say this is QTY and this is HRS. Okay. And again, you don't have to do it. You can cut and paste it and put it right in. But if you do that, make those little bit of changes, go into Power BI. Oh, get data. Now you have to go back. The one thing you have to, when you start a new, I haven't found a way to start keep the connection information. You have to redo the connection information each time. So now when you do the refresh, you're okay. But okay, so now we have it here. So instead of going to the other tab, I'm going to go over here and I am going to Control C, take this SQL, click OK, and then it's going to do the exact same thing as building the analysis as it is just selecting the analysis. So it depends on what your users, only we don't need to you do not need to transform data because it's already transformed. It's already up here. So all you have to do is load it. It will load. You're going to come up with the same things that you have had before. And then you can also, on this, once it loads, you can refresh it. You can do anything else that you want to do, just like selecting it from an analysis. So I think these are the best ways. I think these would be the best ways that most users will probably want to use it in Power BI. So you can see they're here, and you can take, but you see it has organization, division name, because that's what it is in OAC. You have hours, quantity, again, same as before. Okay, I want to go back now to the PowerPoint presentation. Okay. Okay. So now what are the lessons that we've learned on this? So the lessons that we learned were that the database isn't autonomous. You need to find good ODI resources. I think we kind of struggled with that a little bit. The average user has problems creating ad hocs, and I think that was partly because the way our subject areas were designed. Can probably use some improvement on that in our models and within themselves. Users have preference to other analytic tools. And so what we did is, okay, let's help them with it. Let's, instead of working against each other, let's work together and see how we can solve the problems. Meet early and often with key users. And that was 100% the case in the install rate dashboard. I think we could have saved the company time and money, and a lot of stress on the people implementing the install rate dashboard. Another thing I like to add is you need to, when you're hiring employees, it's important that they have the skill sets that you're looking for. If you need to and find a way to validate the skill sets, and that should help you, because it's always best to get the skills up front, but also make sure that they fit your culture. So if you are a team culture, then make sure you hire people that are wanting to work in a team environment. If you like people to work alone, then hire those kind. And then probably the biggest thing that I think is you need to take advantage of the resources available to you. Global leaders, Laura and her team, have been great in helping us and going to the things. I've learned so much from that. The customer advisory board with Oracle, we've been active with them. Jamie and Ben have always been very helpful in answering questions and getting us the help that we need. So take advantage of them. That's some good free resources that you need to be taking advantage of. And then always find a good trusted partner, because they can they've been on several different projects besides just with your organization. So they can come in and give you some ideas. So I think that's the way. I think those are the things that can help. Now, the last thing I want to go over, and I know I'm kind of running very close on time, but I want to talk about the Oracle Database 23 free release that's out. Give me maybe 3 to 5 minutes. I'm going to go through it fast. But the keys I want to take away here, anytime you can learn about what Oracle has coming out, to be prepared for when you're going to any meetings with Oracle, if you're going to go to a presentation that Oracle or somebody else is giving, if you're going to go to any conferences like Oracle Open World, if you learn about what's out there, then you can better guide your questions and you can be prepared to ask. And I find that very helpful. So I learned this stuff at the Global Leaders Conference about the 23C free release. And basically what that is a database that has Oracle Database 23C. It is on a virtual box. It's an image on a virtual box. It took me about, within an hour, I had downloaded the virtual box, installed it, downloaded the image, and was in SQL Developer, or was in the SQL CL, entering select statements. So it doesn't take long. They do have a sample schema and tables, which work very nice. So that's really good. Go in there. I encourage you to go in there and play around. They have 300 plus new features that are coming out in the 23 release, and it's going to be out towards, I'm not going to commit to anything. I'm definitely not Oracle, but when I ask, it seems like it's going to be the end of the year, first of next year, probably calendar year, when we might be seeing it come out to the cloud area at least. So, but it's something good that developers can go in there and play with some of the new things that are coming out. So when I look at this, some of the things that are coming out, yeah, the SQL, you can now, instead of having to know PGQL, you can now use SQL. So that's going to make it easier for users. I have got, each one of these, and I don't know if each one of these have a link that if you click on the link, it will take you to more information. So if I think you can do that in a PDF, hopefully. So if you get this, and feel free to click on the links, you can now have, I think is important, you can have, instead of just 1,000, limit of 1,000 columns in a table, you can now have 4,096 columns. So look at it. It did say something about you have to have the Oracle Client Tools 23C to access it. So I don't know what that meant. So look at it, but it's good. They've added some stuff in the argument command that's to help with running batch and running programs and creating programs. Aggregation over interval data types. Anybody that's using the interval data type, which is basically a day, month, year, minute, second, hour type, you can now do aggregations over those. So that's something that's, I think it would be nice if you're using it. They have Boolean data type. They have annotation, which annotation is you can annotate, give descriptions, more information about a table that you're creating, an object you're creating, and it will go into an annotation table, and it helps with documentation. So that I found it was kind of cool. We have the if not exist to help support more of the error catching, or error handling. And then I want to show this one because I think this is really cool. If you're building if you're building a lot of information, like if you have a lot of tables in your building and you have something, this example is a email. So if you have domains allow you to create a domain with all the definitions for this email, and then you can use the domain in a table. So you can say, I want it to be a varchar 100 with these constraints, and you even have an annotation here. This is how you annotate. So you have all that, and then whenever you need to use it, you can just say email domain. So that way it helps you keep your data consistent across all of the different all your different tables, your application. Group by and having clause, this is in here. Please look at it. You can now group by and having clauses by aliases. And you can also do group by with the column positions. You can do a select clause, and you don't have to do from dual. And you have direct joins for updates and deletes. So you can just go right into a table and do from table A to table B and updates it. And you can update the tables that way. That's your annotations. There's also a lot of features in for the DBA. Again, I can't go over all of them. I am over on time. But on this, I just want to say, get in there, look at the features. I Googled a lot of this, and the more I Googled, the more I wanted to learn more. So I just had to put a pin in it and stop it. And with that, are there any questions?
We had one, and I just let it go to the end. Was there a business event or change that required a new model when you talked about having to redo your business model with the RPD?
When we redid our business model when we went from 11.117 to the cloud?
Correct.
No, there wasn't a business need. I think we wanted them to perform better. And I think we were trying to make them, and again, I wasn't there at the time, try to make them more efficient and more user-friendly. And what the same person that did it the first time did it the second time. So they ended up, I think, being a lot alike. They weren't we didn't modify them as much as we would like to have. Okay.
We have one that says, have you come across any use case for OAC to Power BI interface based on your experience?
Yeah. Have I seen the use case for it? Yes, I have a user. I have someone on our analytics team. The analytics team is a big Power BI, and he has a report that before he was exporting it, he was going into OAC, running the report, exporting it, then importing it into Power BI. And he now runs it. He ran it, got it loaded into Power BI, and now every week or month, whenever he runs a report, he just goes in and refreshes it from Power BI. So that's a big use case because we have quite a bit of people. I don't know so if you have users that are going to OAC and exporting out data and putting it into Power BI, #1 use case for
it. Next question, in regards to adoption, is there a way to share BV projects on platforms like Teams and SharePoint? That one I don't know. There is ways of embedding OAC content. You have to look at what Mike Duran has done with it, but I'm not sure if it could be embedded into Teams.
Yeah, I don't know for sure. I don't know that either.
Be a question to throw out on Cloud Customer Connect, maybe.
Any other questions?
Well, we threw another one up here. Once a report is rebuilt in Power BI desktop, can that be published to Power BI server and run independent of OAC setup?
Yes, yes. So once it's loaded, and I'm going out here on a limb because I'm not Power BI, but once it's loaded into desktop, the data is residing in the Power BI model. So you could, once you load it, you can use it in Power BI and not have to connect to OAC. It's only when you refresh and load the data. So yes, and then once it's in there, you can publish it to Power BI services. Now, I don't think you're going to be able to refresh it from Power BI services. That I would need to check on and confirm. We haven't done it yet, but I don't think you can. You can't. I couldn't imagine there's going to be I don't know that there's a way to go Power BI services refresh this data. I think you have to go back to desktop to refresh it.
Okay. James Anderson answered the question regarding the teams embedding it. It was something that Mike Duran wrote in 2020. So yes, you can embed in teams. Thanks, Jamie. Next question, what type of remodeling of subject areas were done during OBIEE to OAC migration? Could you provide an example?
That's going to be tougher. Now, I just know that I wasn't there at the time that we were migrating. That was before my time. So I'm not 100% sure. I mean, I know they tried to consolidate things more, but I think the issue was they ended up almost redoing what they did before. But ideally, what we would have done is consolidated more. Our goal was to consolidate more of the tables, and I think they consolidated some tables to where if we had people that were using data from 2 different subject areas quite a bit, they did try to consolidate some of those and put them into one subject area or into one data model and put them into the same subject area. They did do that. To what extent? And that's where I'm not for sure, to be quite honest. I just know that they did redo it and it didn't change as much as they would like it to have done.
Right. I'm not seeing any more questions at this time.
Sorry.
Good.
Okay. Well, here are some more helpful links that will be in the things that we've gone over. We have, just so you know, we have the Oracle Analytics videos. If you want to look at any of those, here's that. The new features videos by Oracle. We have the Oracle Analytics community is here. Oracle Analytics live demos are there as well. And then the Power BI information that I provided is, you can go click on this link for that. And the database 23C information is that link there. So.
Good deal.
Okay.
Well,
Anything else?
I think we're good. I don't see any more questions. Cathye, thank you for your time today and sharing the journey of analytics at Rosendin. Again, my name is Wayne Van Sluis. I'm with the AnDOUC board, and we'd like to thank you all for being part of today's presentation. Have a great day. Thank you.
Okay. And then I'd like to also say thank you, everyone, for attending, and thank you, Wayne and board, for letting me present today.
Right. If you would like to share some of your experiences with OAC or have a topic that you'd like to present on, please send us a note, info@andouc.org, and we will try to get you aligned to do a presentation. Y'all have a great day. Thank you.